Just a week ahead of midterms, President Trump has made another tough stand on immigration. The president now says he's working to end birthright citizenship through an executive order that would impact children born on U.S. soil to non-citizens. The president is also sending thousands of troops to the U.S.-Mexico border and planning to house new immigrants in tent cities. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Major Garrett has more.
A week before the midterm elections, President Trump said he could end so-called birthright citizenship with a stroke of his pen.
You can definitely do it with an act of Congress, but now they're saying I can do it just with an executive order.
That would mean overturning a portion of the Constitution's 14th Amendment that says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States.
We're the only country in the world where a person comes in, has a baby, and the baby is essentially a citizen of the United States for 85 years with all of those benefits. It's ridiculous.
In fact, at least 30 countries guarantee citizenship to people born within their borders, and federal courts have generally ruled the 14th Amendment applies to children born in the U.S. to undocumented parents. Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan said the president cannot change current law by himself.
Well, you obviously cannot do that. You cannot end birthright citizenship with an executive order.
In 2015, Mr. Trump raised the birthright issue on the campaign trail.
The 14th Amendment, I was right on it. You can do something with it, and you can do something fast.
The debate adds to the president's hardline immigration moves in the run-up to the elections, including sending more than 7,000 troops to the southern border in reaction to the Central American migrant caravans making their way north through Mexico. The size of the U.S. force is roughly equal to that fighting ISIS in Iraq and Syria. On Fox News last night, President Trump said migrants seeking asylum in the U.S., whom he called invaders, would be housed in tents while under review.
We're going to put tents up all over the place. We're not going to build structures and spend all of this, hundreds of millions of dollars.
And Major Garrett joins us here at the desk. Always a treat. Good to have you here in New York.
Great to be with you.
Okay, as you mentioned, as many folks have pointed out, the Constitution may prevent an executive order from doing this. How does the White House think this would work?
Right now, it works as a conversation and a conversation topic, a base mobilizer for Trump supporters for sure, but also quite probably a base mobilizer for people who oppose the president's agenda on immigration. So right now it's a conversation thrown right into the final days of the midterm election. That is something the White House believes structurally could be helpful, but it also shines a light on much of the unfinished work of the Trump immigration agenda. Lots of tough talk, but very little tangible results. Little money for the wall, no changes in existing federal law, or harsh or aggressive, if you will, enforcement of existing law, but nothing has really changed. So, yes, it's throwing immigration front and center in the midterm closing arguments, but is that a net positive for the administration? They are hoping so. We'll find out come Election Day.
You pointed out in the piece that Paul Ryan kind of shook his head at this proposal. How is the rest of the GOP responding?
Well, one Republican Senator, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, usually a very strong advocate on behalf of the Trump administration, sometimes not so much, said he's going to introduce legislation to do this. And back to your first question. An executive order in almost no instance would survive court challenge. However, there are legal scholars who at least will acknowledge that an absolute testing before the Supreme Court of what the 14th Amendment means in terms of providing birthright citizenship to children of undocumented migrants hasn't been fully tested. There are implications, and the underlying debate suggests it's settled. But maybe it's not, and maybe this Supreme Court, with a conservative majority, two of the justices appointed by President Trump, might want to take up the question. So I don't want to leave viewers with the assumption that this would never rise to the Supreme Court. If the president were to do this, it would invite instant court challenge, and that court challenge could, I'm not predicting it will, but it could make it to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. And an awful tough case when Congress and dozens of presidents and Supreme Court precedent have all assumed this is what the 14th Amendment means. It would be a heavy lift at the court.
It would be a very heavy lift, and the very question being injected into this midterm atmosphere tells you that this is at least half, if not more so, political.
And there's another one that many see as political, the movement of these 5,000 troops to the border in anticipation of a caravan that is still, I don't know, a month away.
1,000 miles away.
1,000 miles away, depends which way they go, how long it'll take them to get there.
Yes, it could be. It's a number of weeks for sure.
But what do we know about these troops, when the troops will get there, what they'll be able to do, what they won't be able to do?
So there is a lot of optics involved here. And look, there is an American incentive to send a message visually to migrants. Look, the border is not going to be open to you. That's not on its own a controversial statement from an American government.
And Obama and Bush have done similar, those smaller
and sometimes
things.
Optics are important and powerful communicators. Troops are heading to the border. Are they there yet? No. Are they going to engage militarily? No. Are they mostly going to be there in support capacities for Customs and Border Patrol agents? Yes. But the optics do send a message, and there's nothing overtly nationalist or racist about that. But is it an immediate need? No. But if you're trying to discourage the migrants from coming, perhaps it's helpful in that regard. But the military, according to the current orders, they're going to stage first, be trained up, and then be in a support role for everyone who's at the border, and also provide logistical efforts, planes and others, to move Customs and Patrol agents to where they're most needed. But they already know where to be. They already know where to go. It's not a mystery to them about how to deploy or where to deploy. So there also is a political component to this as well, because the immediate need is invisible.
The president, like every president, is a political being, and it's fairly clear, this close to the midterms, his focus, his laser focus on immigration is a strategy. He could have chosen other topics, health care, the economy. Why immigration?
Could have stuck with Kavanaugh. Only 2 weeks ago, this midterm was going to be about Kavanaugh and the caravan, but Kavanaugh first. Now it's mostly about either the caravan or some other element of immigration, not even about the underlying economy. Now, the president will wade into that occasionally, talk about it. But when you hear the thrust of the argument from the president, it's principally about immigration. Now, the Republican National Committee and the president's campaign manager on CBS this morning, earlier this week, said, no, it's about the economy. Don't turn back. Don't lose the progress we've gained. So, to be sure, it's a mixed message. What will mobilize Trump supporters, Republicans in general, what will not? One thing we're fairly clear on, because the data has showed this for more than a year. Democrats are mobilized for lots of different reasons. The key issue in this midterm election will be how motivated are independent voters? Do they have any buyer's remorse if they supported President Trump? Are they getting off the sidelines in ways that they haven't in previous midterms? Will they be the decisive voice come next Tuesday?
We just saw the president at a rally. He'll be doing a bunch more of them. I know you'll be traveling with him. Happy travels, and good to see you.
Great to see you.